Hello and welcome back to TNN's coverage of the world's 9 best fantasy football players league. I'm your host, and this is what we have for you this week. As divisional play wraps up for round 1 this season and we move into interdivisional play, only 2 teams are left undefeated. TNN reached out to the Texarkana Bandits and Chewed on Noodles for comment.
We're 3-0, and it feels fucking awesome. Let's go, Bandits.
And now, here is Brett to spin the wheel for the Survivor Pool this week.
Emergency update from the offices of BSB Incorporated. Still a little kind of messed up from the Ohio State game. If this is making it into the video, that means Tooch is a legend. Your host is a legend because I'm submitting this super late. But I just needed to put it out there into the universe. Miguel, fraud. Talked a big game. Is now 0-3, can't hang, can't beat me, can't come close to beating me. I just can't wait for Miguel to get another elite player that he will just trade to me for scraps. RIP Chris Carson. Also, congratulations to Ham and Throw on not winning the 5th place award this week. Truly a legend, truly an honor to be in the same league as you.
And now, here's Danny Football with his picks for week 4.
Hey, what's up, guys? World's 9 best fantasy football players expert, Danny Football here, back with another week of expert predictions. Last week was pretty good for me, going 4-2, bringing my total on the year up to a very nice 12-6. My guest, Tom, also went 4-2, unfortunately for him, being unable to beat the expert, because as we all know, tie goes to the expert, of course. But now, it's a new week, there's a new guest, and a new chance to beat the expert. So guest, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Danny Football. Hello, my old friend. Good to see you. Thanks for having me back on the show.
Of course.
It's been a minute, but I'm looking forward to making some picks. I'm feeling good tonight. You know, Team Manic just came out of historical victory.
True.
League record of total points. Phillies clinched the NL wild card, home field advantage tonight. Just ate some ice cream. Just vibes are high right now. I'm ready to go. Let's make some picks.
All right, first up, we have Ham and Throw taking on Blood, Sweat, and Beers. Blood, Sweat, and Beers favored at 51%. Really close matchup here. This is just a matchup of 2 horrible, terrible teams, and really only one of them is excusable. Like, Blood, Sweat, and Beers, everyone knows they're all in on the tank this year. Ham and Throw, I don't know what they're doing. It's just bad top to bottom. I'm really rooting for Blood, Sweat, and Beers to go all in on the tank, but I would also love for them to beat Undefeated Never Lost and Ham and Throw back-to-back weeks while making it very clear to everyone that they're a tanking team. I think that would just be hysterical, great for content, great for the league. Ham and Throw, they've been talking a pretty big game in classic Mike Visconti fashion for a team that is 1-2 right now. They would have been eliminated in the Survivor Pool this week if it wasn't for a truly fluky wheel spin. Ham and Throw did not deserve to be immune. I'm going to come out and say it. I think the entire league, the entire TNN, the world's 9 best fantasy football players fandom will agree with me that Ham and Throw did not deserve to be immune. I think that Blood, Sweat, and Beers is due for some positive regression. They had a couple guys who scored 0 points in their starting lineup last week. I think things are only looking up for Blood, Sweat, and Beers. But for this week only, I think after this, they're going all in on the tank. I'm picking Blood, Sweat, and Beers to knock off Ham and Throw this week.
No wonder they call you the expert. That's just expert opinion right there. I couldn't agree more with anything. I think this is a matchup, 2 teams that just aren't going to be pleased with the starts that they had. But maybe this is the week that one of them turns their team around. Obviously, neither of them probably going to be contenders in the league. But at this point, just really playing for maybe locker room morale.
Yeah.
Morale into next seasons. So still things to play for week to week. Hammond throw. Visconti just refuses to give up. He talks a lot of hype. He tries really hard. It's a well-intentioned franchise that just has gotten some bad luck with injuries, but it's just not their year. And unfortunately, they're also starting Mac Jones, which is just a bad look for the franchise. And
I mean, they could start Desmond Ritter.
That's true. Could be an even worse look for the franchise. Blood, Sweat, and Beers on the other hand, they're just a middle of the pack team. I know they are tanking, but they still have some good players in the lineup. In this matchup, Aaron Jones might be a big factor, whether or not he plays or not. Obviously, hasn't gotten the production out of Burrow that he wants this year. Luckily, Tua's made up for that. But for this matchup, I think Jamar is going to carry the team. I think that Blood, Sweat, and Beers is going to handily beat Visconti this week and take the victory.
I love that pick. Great minds think alike. Great minds fade Hammond throw. Next up, we have the SWAT team taking on Team Big Chungus 22. SWAT favored in this one at 61%. Who do you like in this matchup?
Yeah, so SWAT team, they haven't been the powerhouse that they have been in years past.
True.
They've always been that defensive powerhouse. They've always come out swinging and top the league every week. They're 2-1, but there's better teams this year. They still put up pretty valiant effort in both games. TJ Watt obviously been a stud, really carrying their team throughout the year. Daniel Jones as their QB, definitely not what the team was hoping for.
Tough luck
going into the year, but you really you got to do what you got to do. Chungus, on the other hand, I'd say probably 75% of their points have come from 3 players probably this year: Tyreek, Hurts, and Swift the last 2 weeks. And the front office of Chungus just seems a little desperate. They're going after some undisclosed players of Team M. Vanek, throwing out names like Michael Gallup, trying to get players for Michael Gallup, which that's just some signs of a poor franchise.
Okay, interesting.
Trying to one up Michael Gallup. They're just not getting the production they want. So I think this one's a pretty easy pick. I think SWAT team's going to take the win this week.
Yeah, I think that's a good pick. I love the Michael Gallup drop there. That's the kind of insider content you only get here on TNN. That's the kind of thing that makes our loyal fans of the show come back, like, subscribe, ring the bell every single week, comment down below. That's the hard-hitting journalism we get here at TNN. So just thank you for that little golden nugget for all the fans out there. As far as this matchup goes, I don't have too much to say. Big Chungus, known hater of me and the show. I hope he's watching right now. They actually had a pretty close one last week with the brick walls, but my man Will made a very questionable decision of leaving Kyle Hamilton, noted Notre Dame alum, noted beast defensive back for the Ravens. He was on the taxi squad, not even on the bench. And this man put up 39 points. Would have very easily won Will the matchup and the week. Makes you question his loyalty to Notre Dame and really makes you question his decision-making as an owner. SWAT team, they took their first L last week. Very tough matchup with the Bandits. I do have to point out it was an unlucky loss. They were one of the top 4 scorers in the league last week. So, things are all right for the SWAT team. This is a team, they've been down hard with injuries. And I really wonder how they're going to hold up over this long, grueling season. But I do not wonder how they're going to hold up against the Chunguses. I'm going with the SWAT team in this one.
Great minds.
Next up, we have the Judon Noodles taking on JK We're Still Mahorny. Judon favored here at 62%. These are two teams I think are actually going in pretty opposite directions. Judon Noodles been looking very nice over the first 3 weeks. One of only two teams that are still undefeated, them and the Bandits. Raheem Mostert has actually been a very nice boost to this team, surprisingly. I think he's been the #1 running back across the first 3 weeks so far. Pair him up with Christian McCaffrey. It's a nice pair for the Judon Noodles. We'll see how long he's able to keep that pace up. But they did also just lose Mike Williams for the year. As I've said before, Timmy has really talked up his great depth on his team. We're going to see if they're able to step up and fill in that Mike Williams spot. For JK, they are another team that has been hit very hard with the injuries this year and just overall disappointment. I know that Joe is not happy with how things have turned out over the first couple of weeks. Their new acquisition, Breece Hall, has had a couple of very disappointing games and is just being pulled down like a rock by that just putrid Jets offense behind Zach Wilson. They've also had injuries to obviously Saquon, Waddle, Cooper Kupp, and J.K. Dobbins. This is a team that I think very easily could be good and a true contender if they were healthy. Unfortunately for them, though, pretty much all of their stars are hurt. I don't like their odds this week. I'm going to go with the Judon Noodles in this matchup.
Gosh, I want to disagree with you, Danny Football. There's just nothing to disagree with there. I mean,
It's hard to pick against the expert, you know. I just speak the truth.
Yeah, I get it. Now I can see why they call you the expert. I mean, the Noodles, yeah, they've been a real powerhouse this year. Obviously, the Mike Williams injury hurts, but McCaffrey, Mostert, as you said, going to make up for it. Also, neglected to mention the Taylor Swift bump that Kelsey's going to get in his production.
That's true.
Next couple of weeks, you know, you might see his stats really start to skyrocket. So you got to take that into account. And then, yeah, JK just got hit with the injury bug. Strong start to the year, falling off a little bit. Breece Hall not getting the touches that he wants. Mahomes has been solid, pretty solid defense, but definitely running into a tough test with the Noodles. So going to go with the Noodles in this one.
Next up, we have undefeated, never lost, taking on Team M. Vanek. M. Vanek favored at 57%. What are your thoughts on this one?
Oh, so many thoughts on this one. You know, Team M. Vanek, Team Sam Hinkie, at this point, I don't even care what you call them. Team M. Vanek, they're really starting to hit their stride. The defense playing as a cohesive unit. Kirk Cousins looking like a stud. Pretty sure he's the one ranked quarterback in the league.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'd have to have a fact checker on that. Keenan Allen going off. And just things are on the up and up. And we're excited for what's next with the franchise. And then UNL, on the other hand, just real tough start to the year, 0-3. You know, had some high expectations maybe going into the year, as they always do. Just starting Justin Fields at quarterback, just you got to question the UNL leadership.
Yeah.
Maybe the OC in that decision. Maybe there's some conflicts in the front office having to do with who to play. And just, you know, they have a good core of young receivers, but, you know, it's just a tale as old as time. Things just aren't clicking in for UNL. So, you know, we'll see. Maybe they put up a good fight, but, you know, I think that Team M. Vanek squeaks out a win here.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a good pick. Team M. Vanek, look, they're coming off a record-setting week last week. They've scored the most points of any week ever in the history of the league. Some may say that that's because we added 2 extra flex spots, but that's, you know, neither here nor
there. That's irrelevant. That's all.
Neither here nor there.
Yeah.
I gave this team some praise last week, really commending team owner Mike Vanek on his excellent, stellar draft this past year. Got a lot of really good guys. I think you're going to be nice pieces for this team moving forward. For undefeated, never lost. I mean, what is there even to say about them that hasn't been said at this point? This team, they're starting out 0-3 yet again. They just lost to a tanking team last week in Blood, Sweat, and Beers. On the bright side for them, though, if the season ended today, they would actually hold the first 2 picks in next year's rookie draft, and neither of them would be their own. The first 2 picks are from Nooch and Joe, who currently are out of the playoffs and hold the first 2 picks in the draft because they have the lowest max points for. Could be something to look out for down the line this season. Undefeated never lost, maybe picking towards the top of the draft again, depending on how things shake out. I think that's about all they have to look forward to, though. This is going to be a really tough matchup with Team Vanek. Like I said, not much to look forward to, but this week I think they'll pull it off. I'm going with undefeated never lost in this one.
Love it. Got to disagree somewhere.
Moving on, we have the Texarkana Bandits taking on Bart Harley, Jarvis Landry. Bandits favored in this one at 58%. I really don't have much to say about Bart Harley. They've had a very disappointing start to the season. Only have 1 win, and it was actually a lucky win in week 2 where they were bottom 4 scorer. Currently have the lowest max points for, and they don't even have their first round pick next year. So they're going to need a shot in the arm quick in order to turn their season around. And unfortunately for them, they're going up against the absolute juggernaut in the Texarkana Bandits. And look, fans of the show, Mike Vanek, I know you're a fan. Fans of the show will know that I'm high on the Bandits. They just got a huge win last week. Big for team morale. Great for the locker room. Beat the 3-time defending champs handily. Put up a great score, around 270. One of the best we've seen in league history. As I'm sure all fans know, Trayvon Walker, I love. Great guy. Great tape out there on him. He put up 12 points last week. I think he's really moving into a solid position on this roster, getting accustomed to playing alongside the newly acquired stars. He's going to continue to roll. I think this Bandits team as a whole is going to continue to roll, and I think they're going to roll all over Bart Harley this week. I'm going with the Bandits easily in this matchup.
Yeah, that's just the easy pick. That I don't think it's going out on the limb to say the Bandits are probably the best team in the league. They've just consistently performed week in, week out. They got a incredible wide receiver core as part of the team. They're lacking a little bit at the QB position. Forget who their QB is, but I remember looking earlier, and I don't think it was that great. But
Jared Goff.
Jared Goff. Yes,
I had to think about that one.
I don't know about that.
The Achilles heel of the Bandits.
But yeah, the wide receivers make up for it. And I really
CeeDee Lamb, really good. I would love to have him on my team right now.
Really
if I had a team, of course.
It haunts Team Vanek to this day, the CeeDee Lamb trade that really was, honestly, I'll admit it, probably the worst trade in league history, looking back on it. But yeah, that's beside the point. And yeah, I expect the Bandits to be a contender pretty late into the season. Bart Harley, I think you covered it all. They're just, they've been good in years past. They're just not as relevant this year. They've had, a few good years. Now they're just kind of a middle of the pack team. Hard to tell, are they trying to still be good? Are they trying to tanking? I think they might have to consider a rebuild kind of soon. They don't have the youngest of players, especially without a draft pick. So I think they have some decisions to make the next couple weeks. So for that reason, I'm going with the Bandits.
Finally, we have our marquee matchup of the week. We have the Coochie Gang taking on the Mental Brick Walls. This one currently 50-50. Who do you like in this matchup?
Yeah, this is going to be a really close one. I think this one might come down to a Monday Night Football game. The gang, they made some trades that probably haven't panned out for them as much as they wanted to this year and last year. Herbert's been solid. Adams obviously had a great week last week, but we'll see if that's sustainable going forward. So yeah, I don't know what to think about the gang right now. They're kind of, some weeks they might show up, some weeks they might not. The Brick Walls, on the other hand, I think they're a lot more consistent than the gang. I really actually like the Brick Walls. They have a young team, a lot of talent. I like their flex options. And, they're 2-1 this year. I think they're going to be a a solid contender this year. So I think it's going to be a close one, but I think the Brick Walls are going to pull ahead and take it out in a nail biter.
Yeah, this is one that was really hard for me to pick. These are two kind of like middle of the pack teams so far over the first couple weeks. Both playoff teams last year. I know getting a win here is going to be very big for either of these teams as far as jockeying down the line this season. The Brick Walls, I think, are a more talented team, top to bottom, than the Coochie Gang. But there's just something about the Coochie Gang where just they've got that grit. Sometimes they've got that luck. And this is really one where I thought I was going to be pulling out the coin and doing a flip. But the more and more I thought about it, I thought, you know, everything makes me think I should pick the mental brick walls in this one. And that's exactly why I need to go with the Coochie Gang here. Tom is just, look, the man's lucky. Last season, insanely lucky. Stormed into the playoffs, did very well in the survivor pool. And look, I think Kevin Moss could be that little extra sprinkle on top that puts the Coochie Gang over the top. I'm going to go with them in this one. Well, Mike Vanek, thank you so much for being on the show this week. I'm wishing you all the best of luck with your picks, of course. Not as good as me, can't beat the expert, but thank you for being on, and I look forward to seeing you again in the future.
It's my absolute pleasure. Thanks for having me, Ken. Well, it's good to see you.
And thank you, Danny Football and guest Mike Vanek, for those great picks. That's all we have for you this time. Be sure to tune in next week to see how things shook out. I'm your host, and this has been TNN.
Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell.